Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Nedarim page 19, which discusses a person who may wish to become a Nazir, which we've mentioned is a person who accepts upon themselves additional stringencies, such as not cutting their hair for 30 days, as well as not coming in contact with a dead body, also not consuming wine or grape products. Now, what if you have two people and both people are walking on a road and they see someone coming in their direction? And one person of these two guys looks at him, the guy who's coming toward them, and says, "You know what? I don't know if this guy's a Nazir or not. So I'm going to make the following statement. If this guy coming is a Nazir, then I'll be a Nazir just like him." And the second guy, who wanted to almost place a bet or a dare against his friend, said, "Oh, okay. Tell you what, if the guy who's coming in our direction is not a Nazir, then I'll become a Nazir." So eventually they're going to find out the truth. Just like flipping a coin, heads or tails, one of them is going to be right and one of them is not going to be right. This person coming toward them, they'll eventually ask, "Hey, how you doing? Personal question. Are you a Nazir?" And if the answer is yes, so then that first person is a Nazir. If the answer is no, then the second person is a Nazir. However, the Talmud here tells us that that's not the case. When it comes to being a Nazir, it has to be that when you make your actual declaration, at that precise moment, you need to have absolute, complete clarity that you know what you're saying, that by making the statement, you are declaring yourself as a Nazir. So even though only a few seconds elapsed until this person came and clarity was finally created by him explaining his current status, it doesn't make any difference. It's necessary at the time of the declaration, when you actually say what you say, it has to be clear exactly what you mean. And therefore, if there's any shred of doubt in your mind whether or not you're actually making yourself into a Nazir, even if later on we discover the truth, it doesn't make any difference. You're not a Nazir. And this also applies if, let's say, a person would say, as the Talmud mentions, that you have this silo which you thought had a lot of grain in it. And you say, "You know what? If there's 100 measures of grain, 100 kur, which was a measure in the times of the Talmud, I'm going to go there in a few minutes. I'm going to count it all up. And if there is this measure, I will be a Nazir." So the Talmud says that if, let's say, he opens up the silo and there's nothing there, it was stolen or lost, or even if it was all there, and even if he actually counts it all and there is 100 kur, he still is not a Nazir for the same reason. Because in his mind, when he made that declaration, he was not entirely sure whether or not there was that measurement of 100 kur inside that silo. And therefore, for that reason, he is not a Nazir. So we could learn from here, although this law may not necessarily apply to all different types of oaths and vows, but the general concept certainly makes sense. That when a person makes a statement, a person should make a statement that it has absolute clarity, that it makes perfect sense for the person yourself who's saying it, and also to the person that you're speaking to. Not to speak in riddles in a way that your words can be easily misconstrued, or in such a confusing or mysterious tone that people have no idea what you're talking about, or you talk above them. At a certain point, they're going to be tuning you out, and they're not going to be listening. And therefore, the Talmud here is telling us, just like when it comes to a Nazir, when you speak, you should speak in a way, in the most effective form of communication. And that is to make sure that what you're saying is completely understood. It's so that the people around you have complete understanding of what you mean and what you're coming from, what exactly you want. And therefore, there will be no potential areas of uncertainty in your words. And of course, you also need to believe in what you say, that you have to have complete ownership and knowledge and clarity of everything that you say as well.